Table turns chaos. Yandy exposes Mendeecees, Sierra goes wild. The night was supposed to be calm. A simple dinner, a few glasses of wine, and maybe a toast to friendship. But with this group, peace never lasts long. The table was set with gleaming silverware, tall glasses of champagne, and candles flickering like tiny flames ready to catch fire. Everyone had arrived in good spirits, but beneath the polite smiles, tension was brewing. Old wounds hadn't healed, secrets hadn't stayed buried, and the truth was just waiting to spill like broken glass across the floor. Yandy's calm before the storm. Yandy sat at the far end of the table, her posture graceful, but her eyes sharp. She had been quiet all evening, listening as conversations overlapped, laughter here, whispers there, Sierra's voice climbing above the rest like a siren. But Yandy wasn't there to laugh. She had come with purpose. She had something to say, and once she said it, there would be no turning back. Mendeecees leaned back in his chair, confident as always, sipping slowly. He didn't notice the way Yandy's fingers tapped against the glass stem. Or maybe he did, and simply didn't care. Either way, his calmness only fueled her determination. The spark lights. It started small, like all chaos does. A side comment, a raised eyebrow. Sierra had been talking about loyalty, who had it, who didn't, and how she could never stand a liar in her circle. The word, liar, hung in the air like smoke. That's when Yandy finally leaned forward, her voice steady, but sharp enough to cut through the chatter. Speaking of liars, she said, eyes locked on Mendeecees. Maybe we should talk about what's really going on. The room shifted. Forks froze midair. Wine glasses paused at lips. Mendeecees' smirk faltered for the briefest second, and Sierra's eyes widened with delight. Drama was her favorite dish, and she was starving. Yandy drops the bomb. Yandy's words came like a storm. You've been out here pretending like everything is good, like you're honest, like you've been doing right by people. But I know the truth. I know what you've been hiding. Gasps rippled down the table. Someone muttered, "Here we go." Mendeecees sat up straight, his calm cracking. "Yandy, don't start with me tonight. Not here, not now." But Yandy didn't stop. She was done holding back. "You weren't loyal. You weren't faithful. You think I didn't know? You think the truth wouldn't come out eventually?" The table erupted into overlapping voices, but Sierra's stood out the loudest. Sierra goes wild. Sierra slammed her hand on the table so hard the plates rattled. "Oh, I knew it. I knew something wasn't right with you," she screamed, pointing at Mendeecees as if she had just cracked a case, wide open. She pushed her chair back and stood, pacing, hands flying as she spoke. "You men think you can play us, lie to us, and then smile like nothing's wrong. Nah, not tonight. Not when the receipts are about to hit the floor." Her voice grew louder, sharper. People at nearby tables turned to stare, but Sierra didn't care. This wasn't just a dinner anymore, it was a battlefield. Mendeecees strikes back. Mendeecees wasn't about to let Sierra run wild without defending himself. "First of all, you don't know what you're talking about," he snapped. "And second, Yandy don't know everything either. Half of what she's saying is just her trying to make me look bad." But his voice wavered, just enough to show cracks in his armor. "Make you look bad?" Yandy shot back. "You did that yourself. Don't put this on me. I was loyal to you when you didn't deserve it. And this right here, is me finally standing up for myself." The chaos peaks. Voices collided like thunder. Sierra shouting, Yandy cutting sharp, Mendeecees trying to twist the narrative back in his favor. Glasses spilled, napkins flew, chairs scraped against the floor. One of the guests tried to calm Sierra, but she shrugged them off. "No, let me talk. I've been quiet too long while people like him think they can get away with everything. Yandy, I got your back. Say what needs to be said." And Yandy did. She laid it all out. The late-night calls, the shady business, the whispers she had ignored for too long. Every word was a dagger, and every dagger hit its mark. Mendeecees clenched his fists, his face tight with frustration, but the more he tried to speak, the less anyone believed him. Sierra's wild energy filled the room, fanning the flames higher and higher until the chaos was unstoppable. The aftermath. When the shouting finally slowed, the room looked like a storm had blown through it. Drinks spilled across the tablecloth, silverware scattered, people exhausted from the sheer energy of it all. Yandy sat back, her expression calmer now, almost relieved. She had spoken her truth, and whether people loved it or hated it, it was out there. Mendeecees looked cornered, his usual confidence replaced with a silence he couldn't hide behind. Sierra, still buzzing with adrenaline, paced the floor like a lioness fresh from battle. "You see," she said, her voice hoarse but firm, "when the table turns, the truth don't stay buried. It rises. And tonight it rose." Yandy gave a small nod, her eyes meeting Sierra's. For once, the two women stood on the same side of the battlefield. The dinner was ruined, the friendships shaken, and the night forever changed. But one thing was certain. When Yandy exposed Mendeecees and Sierra went wild, the table didn't just turn, it flipped, shattered, and set the whole room on fire.